Hello, everyone. Welcome to the special edition of Mind Debates or Mind Quick Bite Debates, if I would like to say, because this is not really a format, a debate format that we usually do. But we wanted to do that because of a very newsy Tuesday night for India. And of course, you know about the Cabinet Reshuffle. So this is Aadit Kapadia welcoming you to this special edition. And together with me from an undisclosed location in Latvian Delhi is Sunanda Vashisht. Hi, Sunanda.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I am apparently I'm not in Kazakhstan anymore.
No, I said Tajikistan.
Tajikistan, okay. Apparently, I'm not in Tajikistan.
Kazakhstan was your second phase.
Okay. No. I'm very much in ground zero in Delhi at the moment.
No,
And
Sunanda, that's why I said undisclosed location in Latvian's Delhi.
I was supposed to be on a vacation, and anyway, don't blame me for any of the earthquake that happened last night. I was not responsible for it. Let me put this out. I have not been responsible for any of the tremors felt last night.
No one is, but you have set the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons. But
Yes.
anyways, without further ado, I think we are doing a short discussion, me and Sunanda, on this. So a couple of things. I think first of all, we saw a major shakeup. First of all, we saw 19 new ministers being sworn in by the President of India. So almost like a cabinet expansion. And by 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., all news anchors had decided that this was just a cabinet expansion and Prime Minister Modi was not doing any major rejig. And then at about 9:30 India time, between 9 and 9:30.
Yeah, exactly 9:35. I remember I was there, and I thought the cabinet portfolios will be announced this morning. But Mr. Modi has a very interesting relationship with the media. So just when the media and the major shows, primetime shows were done, we got these breaking news. The portfolios had been rejected. How? Major reshuffle that nobody had anticipated.
So coming to that, and that was the interesting part, because from 9 to 9:30, the tone of discussion was something else, and then all the I think anchors had their EPs yelling in their mics that, hey, change the tone right now. So without further ado, just to give a brief overview, in case you haven't read the headlines in the newspapers this morning or this evening, amongst the major movers and shakers, so to speak, was the Education Minister Smriti Irani was moved to the Textile Ministry, and she lost her portfolio to Prakash Javadekar, who is going to be the new HRD Minister, which was certainly the most talked about replacement, and we'll come to that. Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, who was the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, gained the INB Ministry but lost the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry to Mr. Anant Kumar. And so Mr. Venkaiah Naidu is still the Urban Development Minister, and along with that, the the INB Ministry. The INB Ministry was with Mr. Arun Jaitley, and he loses that. Sadananda Gowda, amongst another high profile, he was moved to the Ministry of Statistics and Planning, and Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad got the Law Ministry. In addition to the IT Ministry, Piyush Goyal had a Ministry of Mines added on to his power, coal, and new and renewable energy. Vijay Goyal became the Sports Minister after Sarbananda Sonowal became the Chief Minister of Assam. Another major, I would say, surprise was Jayant Sinha being moved as an MOS Finance to MOS Civil Aviation. Although a lot of people said that the civil aviation policy needed a major shake-up, so maybe Jayant's freshness was something that was thought behind. And and the surprises were, so Santosh Kumar Gangavar, who was the Minister of Textiles, relinquished his ministry, of course, to Ms. Smriti Irani. But he was moved as the MOS Finance, and along with that joined Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal from Rajasthan. The famous MP who rides his bike to the parliament every day.
So there are two MOS finances right now.
Two MOS finances. And then along with their two MOS External Affairs as well, with MJ Akbar being the MOS External Affairs. And if I'm not mistaken, 3 MOS Agricultural. Because, and in that was a very interesting move where Purushottam Rupala, Modi's confidant from Gujarat, was brought in. He was a Rajya Sabha member. He was just sworn in a few weeks ago. And he was brought in as the Minister of State for Agriculture and helping out in rural development and so forth as well.
Tells you about how much importance Mr. Modi is giving to agriculture at the moment, which was even displayed in the budget that was given. The focus was entirely on the rural economy and the farmers. So 2 MOS agriculture ministers makes complete sense. So a lot of thought has gone into this rejig. Unlike earlier, whatever the media was talking about, that this is being done with UP elections in mind, this is being done with... Mr. Modi doesn't work like that, unlike what people think. He works exactly different, in a different way. So I believe, and there were a lot of media reports, that there was proper corporate style evaluation done of ministers, which is how it should be. And after those evaluations that Prime Minister conducted himself, and with, I'm sure, his group of confidants, they came up with this cabinet reshuffle. So this is unlike anything we have seen before. Earlier it was keeping this group happy, keeping that group happy. So what this cabinet rejig signifies is that Mr. Modi means business. So he is going to put performers where they belong. He is going to put performers in ministries where he needs people to shine and bring him, do the job, so to speak. The big ministry, the media here has been completely obsessed with Smriti Irani's loss of portfolio, so to speak. I have a few things to say about that. First, HRD ministry for the longest time has been what they call a battleground ministry. Although personally it shouldn't be, though. I don't know why. But that is a topic for another discussion. But in my entire time that I have been analyzing and I have been understanding HRD ministry and how Indian polity works, I have not known one HRD minister who has been popular. I have never known anyone who everyone is happy with. Unlike a finance ministry or unlike external affairs ministry, HRD ministry is not something where you can deliver results right away and where people will be happy with what you're doing. So whether it was Arjun Singh, about whom you've written actually about, and other people, no one has ever been happy with HRD ministers. So Ms. Smriti, what I have been thinking is that one of the reasons why Ms. Irani might have been moved is the kind of personality she is. She attracts a lot of attention to herself. And maybe this was whether controversies follow her or she follows controversies. The end result is that she's always in the news, she's always in the headlines, mostly for the reasons not about her ministry. She'll be in news for her tweets, or she'll be in news for her a Facebook post that she has done, or some kind of stuff. So maybe it was decided, and this is just my analysis, and I have to tell the readers this is complete analysis. We have no sort of sources to tell us this. Maybe it was, this government does not leak, by the way, as you have seen. So there's no leaks here. Maybe it was decided that HRD ministry requires a quieter person, so to speak, somebody who does not attract so much attention. And Mr. Javadekar, who has done very well in environment, may be a good fit. He was sworn in as cabinet minister earlier. Whether he will be successful or not is a question for posterity. I am of the opinion that he will also be, there will be a section of people that will be very unhappy with him, because HRD ministry is like that. It is a thankless job, and no matter who is put in that position, people are going to be unhappy.
So yeah, I have a little different take on this. I mean, similar, but a little different. But because, I mean, what you said, political battlefield, I would use the term probably a political football or so forth,
Yeah.
because it rotates from one ideology to the other. And something
Correct.
I wrote in my piece when we were doing a one year analysis of the Modi government, which I stand by, was that she was up against it. Smriti did face a lot of challenges from the ideological fiefdoms of the left and so forth. Now, since what 1 year after, probably the government is in a better position to evaluate. Maybe on the national education policy, they did not get the results they hoped for. Maybe on a more structural level, there were a few things that still left to be desired. And that is the reason why she was probably moved from the HRD. Now, the question is textile an easier ministry? I don't think so. I think with the new textile policy out, it is going to be just as much of a challenge. But as you rightly said, the human resource development has always been a high profile ministry, because that is one ministry where you have a clear battle of ideologies. You see, external affairs, there was not a whole lot of left versus right going on. You still have the diplomats and so forth. Same with, finance, you criticize the finance policies and so forth. In HRD ministries, whoever it has it been Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi in the NDA 1 or something, it's always been a very personality driven thing. So, and with Miss Irani having such a popular sort of so speak, so the more passionate your supporters, the more passionate your critics, right?
Yeah.
So that you also have that situation, and I think probably it was something to do with the NEP and so forth. But
NEP, we don't know. As I said, this government does not leak. There is no way to know, and no one knows. So even if you are 5 miles away from Lutyens, you don't know. So people who were 5 miles away from Lutyens last night did not know what was going to happen. But you brought in a very important point of NEP, and I would like to just speak a bit about here, and then you can come in. NEP came with NEP was started with national education policy with a huge amount of buzz, as you know. A lot of people were waiting for it and everything. And so many across the length and the breadth of nation, there were suggestions given in. This was supposed to be the biggest exercise of its kind ever in independent India. First, it did not come for the longest time when it was supposed to come. The deadlines were not met, and then finally when it came with a whimper and not with a bang. I haven't seen one discussion about it. I didn't see anybody excited about it. I didn't see anybody talk a lot about it. It just came, as I said, it just sort of fizzled out. This whole big exercise which was being undertaken at a very huge level, and we were told that this time it's not a token exercise, this time it is something real. Nothing happened, and I don't know why that happened, but it did seem that a lot of people were let down with the national education policy. I read through it, and I know that you did too, Aadit. It wasn't groundbreaking, so to speak, or earth-shattering, so to speak, but it could have been discussed. I am not sure why it just went. It seemed as if Miss Irani herself did not have any faith in it, because somebody as popular or as articulate as her wasn't found speaking about it. So that to me seemed a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, there could be tons of reasons and so forth. And I frankly did not expect this change this time, I must say.
No, I did not either. I have to admit, I did not.
The one thing I know about Mr. Narendra Modi, and I've observed him from 2001 in Gujarat, because that's where I lived in the initial part of his chief ministership, is there is no surprise when it comes to Mr. Modi giving you a surprise. You cannot expect what's going to hit you next. So anyone who says, and this is, and I've told you this many times, Sunanda, anyone who says that they have predicted what is going to happen and so forth is either lying or is probably completely bereft of.
Mr. Modi is.
Yeah. So, so this is the thing.
But one thing I do want to put forth is I do not believe in prize portfolios and punishment portfolios. I do not believe that. And Mr. Modi has gone on record to say that, there are no prize portfolios and, punishment portfolios. So
absolutely, I agree to completely that how that pans out remains to be seen. But the major question, Sunanda, here is that whether what we saw, like no price portfolios, and I mean this is the discussion that we wanted to have in detail about Miss Irani. But moving on to other portfolios, I think Mr. Sadanand Gowda's tenure as a law minister was not the best. And
it
so
was
he
lackluster for lack of a better word.
Especially with the legal bills. So Ravi Shankar Prasad, whose background which brings another question also: why was this portfolio taken away from him in the first place? Because he was the law and telecom minister in the first.
Yeah.
And so that is one change. The other major change was relieving the INB ministry from Mr. Jaitley. Now, I personally don't think that was a big earth-shattering thing or something, but a bigger earth-shattering thing than that was taking the parliamentary affairs from Mr. Naidu and giving it to Mr. Anant Kumar before a crucial session. And you should look at who are the MOS for parliamentary affairs. You have Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi and you have S.S. Ahluwalia. Now, S.S. Ahluwalia comes with a lot of interesting experience. He was a Rajiv Gandhi loyalist, then a Narasimha Rao loyalist, and now he's in the BJP. So, but he's been in the BJP for a while. And it's not that he's just been drafted in. He was the deputy leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha for the longest time. So
another interesting thing is Mr. M.J. Akbar who's going to be assisting Sushma ji. So that is another very interesting. I think MEA right now is a fantastic.
Sunanda, don't forget our good old General VK Singh as well. He still remains the US MEA.
Yeah, he does. But MEA, the kind of projects and the kind of foreign policy that Prime Minister is foreseeing, I think they need more the merrier.
No, and so a part of me feels that two engagements on a diplomatic level with that and on a strategic military level, that would be very interesting to see how.
Very interesting. Yeah. I am quite excited to see what Mr. Akbar brings to the table.
Absolutely. So that is the case with Mr. Akbar. Then another major thing was Jayant being in civil aviation. So and Sunanda, I'm going to ask this question to you because you were the last from the Mindmakers team to actually interact with Jayant Sinha when he was MOS Finance. So how do you feel about that?
I think Mr. Sinha is a very, very competent minister. And I don't think he was removed again just because finance is supposed to be high profile. I don't see it as punishment posting at all. I think because civil aviation has been opened up and we are looking at new civil aviation policy and with the whole tourism and everything developing, I think it's a great fit for Mr. Sinha.
Also, I think this was probably more to do with Mr. Ashok Gajapati Raju's track record, which has been a little lackluster over the last.
Yes. So maybe they needed someone more articulate, and they needed someone who would be.
I think earlier MOS was Mahesh Sharma, who's the Minister of Culture and Tourism. So he's just.
So I think this is a phenomenon. I do not see it as punishment posting at all.
No, absolutely.
I think Mr. Sinha will do very well in there.
This is the thing, Sunanda. With the new civil aviation policy coming in and stuff, I think India should be making more progress in terms of getting private investments and so forth. So let's see how that works out.
Let's see how it works. Mr. Goyal is another very interesting thing. Everyone for days had speculated that he is going to be promoted to cabinet position.
Sunanda,
he did get a promotion, all right.
Just to interrupt you, which Goyal are you talking about? There are two Goyals now.
No, I'm talking about the man of the moment, Mr. Piyush Goyal.
The Goyal from Bombay, not the Goyal from Delhi.
Not the Goyal from Delhi, Goyal from Bombay.
Yes.
So actually they are Goel. One is with E and one is with Y. So that's what I'm talking about the man with the Y.
Go on.
This was in the lighter vein. But Mr. Goyal with Y it was highly speculated that he will be getting a cabinet position. What turned out is that he did get promoted. So he has been a winner, so to speak, in this. He's gotten mines independent charge again. So now he is looking after he's looking after power, renewable energy, coal, mines. Man has his hands full. He is, one of the, as I have often said, Aadit, and you will bear me out when I say this, Mr. Modi's legacy rests on three people: Mr. Gadkari, Mr. Goyal with Y, and the third is Mr. Prabhu. So these three people is his legacy in 2019 will be determined by these three people, and they're all phenomenal people in their jobs.
So on a lighter note, Modi's road from Ahmedabad to Delhi has to go via Bombay.
Yes, he can go. He can. There is no bypass here. There is no flyover.
Now, of course, all my friends from Nagpur and Ratnagiri are going to, or Nagpur and Konkan are going to shoot me because I put Suresh Prabhu and Nitin Gadkari as Mumbaikars as well. So please don't. I'm well aware of the Maharashtra thing.
Okay, let's talk about the Marathi muscle man.
No, I'm coming to that. But before that, a very significant thing which is not being talked about a lot more is rural development was with Chaudhary Birinder Singh, and that has been given from rural development, Panchayati Raj, and water sanitation to Mr. N.S. Tomar, and his steel ministry is gone to Birinder Singh. A lot of commentators were praising that as well, because rural development was, again, it ties into the whole agriculture panchayat system, as you said, and where the focus should be. So that is something what was doing. And also the elevation of Anupriya Patel as the minister was very interesting as well. She and Ramdas Athavale were the only two non-BJP ministers. The Sena was missing out again, and I presume sulking, because there are still controversies over whether Anil Desai should be made a cabinet minister or MOS. This is the rumors on the ground. I'm not unsubstantiated ones, at least.
As we said, this government does not leak.
Yes. So those are the things. But I think overall, and this is the thing, and to sum it up in general, I think this was a very bold move. Because there were choices that Mr. Modi made in 2014 about ministers and stuff, and he replaced them. He probably decided that it were either not the right choices, or maybe they could do better in other fields and so forth. Secondly, the way this was done in a very professional manner, that it was almost like a CEO style report card. And this is a very welcome move, that where ministers are rewarded on meritocracy. And the third thing, and the most important thing, you had Manmohan Singh, I would not say shouting from the rooftops, but saying that he was not a fan of Mr. Raja as a telecom minister, but he couldn't do anything about it because we know why. Here we are, Mr. Modi, who has brought that gravitas or dignity to the prime minister's office, that if you're not performing, the prime minister decides you're off. No other organization.
No. This is the prime minister in charge.
Absolutely.
There is no question about it. This is the prime minister in charge. Everyone works at his pleasure, so to speak. One knows. He sets the goals, and he is very conscious about the fact that those goals should be met.
And I remember me and Sunanda were messaging when this was all going on, and one of the things I told Sunanda was that finally, after watching Mr. Modi's career for almost 15 years, I can say after 2 years in Delhi, the Narendra Modi that I know in Gujarat has finally arrived in Delhi. With an absolute precision, you had a record and stuff, and proper analysis, and you had changes being made according to that. So any closing comments, Sunanda, on this?
No, I think this is the 2-year reset, so to speak, 2-year reset button. I am not foreseeing any major reshuffles after this for a while, for maybe one in 2018 or something. But I don't foresee a big reshuffle. Mr. Modi has been known to give time to people, at least 2 to 3 years, to sort of prove themselves. I don't see any reshuffles unless, necessitated by some unavoidable circumstances. There's this whole thing since I've come here, everybody is talking about a talent deficit. That is a new thing to beat the BJP with. apparently there is talent deficit. I don't think there is any talent deficit at the moment. I think he has right people in the right ministries.
No, and let me also add, Sunanda, just because he might not choose the member of parliaments that the Delhi media is used to seeing, and he gets member of parliaments from the state that the Lutyens media does not know about, that does not mean that they are not talented. I can bet about 2 fingers that half the journalists do not know about Purushottam Rupala from Gujarat. Go to Gujarat, ask any Gujarati, and he will tell you about Purushottam Bhai Rupala and his record there. I'm only saying because he comes from my state and I know the record. Okay? So
similarly for other people also.
Same for Arjun Ram Megwal. Right, exactly. So
there has been the only stuff people knew about Mr. Megwal was that he rides to work, but there's a lot more to the man. So I mean, I think this is a phenomenal change, and this is a phenomenal team.
And very unprecedented in Indian media world, where the names were not out, and midway through the news broadcasts, when the conclusions were written, new theories had to be written. so I just had to put it out there.
Mr. Modi keeps the media busy.
Absolutely, that's a beautiful headline. So anyways, this brings us to the end of this very special short mind debates, or quick mind debates, as I said, on the Cabinet Reshuffle. We'll be back soon. Sunanda, although she promised you she'll be out for a month, she could not stay from us longer. So it was really nice to see you, Sunanda. I'm sure our viewers would say the same. And we'll be back with more podcasts. And we have a good summary on Mindmakers as well about what the major developments and stuff, and anything we have left out. We have a complete list there. So please go on mind.net and check it out. We'll be back soon with more stuff. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you.